What do you do when someone irritates you? What do you do when someone rubs you the wrong way? What do you do when someone lies to you, betrays you, disappoints you? Do you press in prayer or do you absolutely match their energy? Well, on today on the Arise and Build podcast, I am going to talk about just that. Well, we all have been tested, all of us. It doesn't matter if you are the prophet or the congregant. It doesn't matter if you are a janitor or you are the principal at the school. It really doesn't matter. All of us are going to be tested in some shape, form, or fashion. And on today, I want to talk about the power of pressing in prayer after being irritated, after being bullied, after being mistreated, after being intentionally tormented. And when I think about this story, I had the opportunity of ministering this message at a Bible study, and I actually wanted to bring it on the Arise and Build podcast because you just never know who may be experiencing a similar situation. And so on today, I want to talk from the title, When She Prayed. Now, if you're a man and you're watching this, I'm talking to you as well, okay? But the power of pressing in prayer and the story that I want to highlight today, I'm not going to read the entire story, but it does come from First Samuel. If you read First Samuel chapter 1 and chapter 2, you can pretty much read the gist of the story. But this is about a young lady by the name of Hannah who had a rival by the name of Peninnah. Okay, they both were married to the same man. His name was Elkanah. Okay, but this young lady Peninnah, who had children, she actually had children. Okay, Hannah had no children. She wanted children, but she had no children. But for whatever reason, Peninnah had an issue with her. When I looked up the word rival, it means a person who is competing for the same goal or who desires to outdo you. So for whatever reason, Peninnah felt jealous of Hannah, felt threatened by her, wanted to compete with her, wanted to outshine her. Thus, it led to her tormenting her, not just one time, but the Bible said tormenting her year after year. Now, what I want to read 1 Samuel chapter 1, verses 6 and 7. And it says, and her rival, her meaning Hannah, and her rival also provoked her severely to make her miserable. Peninnah's ultimate goal daily was to make Hannah's life miserable, according to the word of God. And the word reads, because the Lord had closed her wound or allowed her wound to be closed. Verse 7. So it was year by year when she went up to the house of the Lord, Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, that Peninnah, provoked her. Therefore, Hannah, she wept and did not eat. Let me go ahead and read verse 8. And she was in bitterness of soul. So Hannah was in bitterness of soul, and she prayed to the Lord and wept in anguish. One of the things I loved about Hannah is that although Peninnah tormented her intentionally on a daily basis, she didn't try to cut her. She didn't try to curse her. What she did was she pressed in prayer. That torment birthed prayer. It brought forth prayer. One of the things I learned is this right here. When someone mistreats you, when someone intentionally does you wrong, it will show what's inside of you. It will reveal it. It will reveal your response. It will reveal really who you are just by that person doing that to you. So this is what I want to do today. I want to give you 7 things to remember. 7 things to remember when the irritant shows up. Now, I mentioned the word irritant, but let me bring this home so you can really understand this. When you look up the meaning of Peninnah, her name means pearl. Her name means pearl. So when you look up how a pearl is formed, it's formed from an irritant entering or an intrusion in the shell of a mussel or an oyster. So check this out. I think this is pretty cool. When I saw this, it was just so fascinating to me. So let's say a parasite enters the shell of an oyster. Soon as that parasite enters that shell, that oyster or mussel, it releases a chemical, and that chemical encases that intruder, thus forming a pearl. So something of value didn't just form just because, it formed as a result of an irritation. What am I trying to say? The irritant in your life is designed to birth something of value out of you based on your response. So the question is, how will you respond when the intruder comes? How will you respond when the irritant shows up? So I want to give you 7 things to remember when the irritant shows up. Number 1, make sure you have your pen and your paper. Number 1, your rival, your adversary, is often the activator of your assignment. Your adversary is often the activator of your assignment. Sometimes things happen in your life and it will give birth to purpose, something you never even thought about doing. But as soon as that thing happened to you, God gives you an idea to create this. God gives you an idea to start this. God gives you an idea to launch this. Why? Because there's more people out there that's dealing with a similar situation, and God is using you as the Moses of your family, the Joshua of this generation, because of this particular situation that happened to you. So number 1, your adversary is often the activator of your assignment. Sometimes God allows the banana in your life not to destroy you, but to develop you. That's number 1. Number 2 is pain can press you into God's presence. Tell me about it. I have had some personal times where, baby, listen, so much stuff was coming at me that I couldn't even pray. I just had to lay before God. Okay. I was just like, God, and some days I just prayed in the spirit. Okay. Until I felt it lift. So pain can press you into God's presence. Adversity has a way of driving you into intimacy with God. And it does, if you allow it. See, it's all about how you respond. God will not make us respond a certain way. We have to choose to respond in a way that will cause the situation to work for us versus against us. Number 3 is the irritant will expose what's inside of you. The irritant will expose what's inside of you. So when opposition enters your life, it will reveal who you are. So we could talk a good game. We could say, I'm a prayer warrior, I'm an intercessor, but as soon as something happens, if you fussing, you cussing, you fighting, you isolating yourself, you quitting, you giving up on life, it will expose who you really are. Number 4, don't curse. Ooh, this is good right here. Don't curse what's creating you. Some things are meant to build you. When you go down and you continue to read the story, you will see that as Hannah began to pray, the prophet Eli came upon her. He saw her lips moving, but he didn't hear words coming out. So he assumed that she was drunk, and he told her, put that drink away from her. And she said, no, I haven't been drinking. I'm crying out to my God, right? And she had prayed and asked God to give her a son. Well, the prophet Eli told her, what you have prayed, may that request, may you have the petition which you have prayed to God. And God honored that request, and God gave her a son, not just any son, a prophet called Samuel, who she gave to the Lord, who actually was mentored and reared by the prophet Eli. So all of this is relevant. Why? Because you don't want to curse what's creating you. You don't want to curse what's creating you, because what feels like persecution may actually be preparation. I need you to make a note of that. What feels like persecution may be preparing you for bigger stages, bigger impact, bigger access. Okay. And then number 5, delay is not denial. Delay is not denial, it's development. Your waiting season isn't punishment, it's actually positioning. It's positioning you for greater. It's positioning me for greater. It's positioning us for greater. Number 6 is your response will determine your reward. If you act, as the kids would say, ignorant, your reward will be ignorant. Okay. If you want to match somebody's energy, then that seed that you're sowing is a seed that you're going to get back. But when your response is a response of kindness, is a response of prayer, it's a response of pressing, it's a response of forgiveness. Guess what? That's a seed that you're sowing in the ground. So how you respond to adversity determines whether it produces pearls or poison. And lastly, number 7, what comes through pain will carry power. What comes through pain will carry power. Okay, so that pain has a way of birthing power and revealing the level of power that you walk in. Make a note of this: your banana season, and we all have had them or will have them. Your banana season is the birthing canal. And if you've ever given birth to a child, you know what I'm talking about, is the birthing canal of your prophetic release. Hannah gave birth to a prophet. That prophecy that has been spoken over your life, whether it's through God's word, his rhema, or through one of his prophets, that banana season is the birthday canal of your prophetic release. So remember this: a pearl cannot form without irritation. Something has to irritate the shell in order for the chemical to release, thus giving something of value within inside of the shell. So although banana was the irritant, Hannah walked away with the most precious jewel, and that is the prophet Samuel. After the prophet Samuel, Hannah bore 3 sons. Listen to this. This is a woman who was barren, who could not give birth to children, who was tormented and reminded on a consistent basis that she could not give birth to children. Because of her response to press and prayer, she went from having 1 child to having 6 children. Because after the birth of the prophet Samuel, she gave birth to an additional 3 sons and 2 daughters. Because of her perspective, because of her response, because of her willingness not to isolate herself. One of the worst mistakes you can make when you're in a season of torment is isolating yourself, because that's when Satan will win. He will begin to speak all these lies to you. So the best thing that you can do is to connect yourself. Connect yourself to a community of believers and other intercessors that will cover you and that will pray. So I pray that you was blessed by the message today. When she prayed, when he prayed, the power of birthing a pearl from an irritating situation. Listen, I appreciate you joining me for another episode of Arise and Build. I invite you to like, comment, and share. And if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I look forward to you joining me next week for this episode. God bless.